Okay, that's 16 times. Now we're going to click our teeth 32 times. Each tooth is connected to an acupuncture meridian. So by clicking the teeth, you're stimulating the acupuncture meridians. And behind the jaw, there is a blood vessel and a nerve that goes to your pineal gland. So the average American chews 7 times before they swallow. So if you chew 16 times, it makes a big difference. Okay? Now, the last part of this is to use your tongue to wash your teeth. Your saliva is a natural antiseptic and a natural antibiotic. So you're going to use your tongue to wipe the outside of the teeth on the upper jaw, the out on the lower jaw, and then the inside on the lower, and then the inside on the upper. So outside, outside, inside, inside. And we're going to do that 8 times. Now I want you to swallow that saliva because that saliva contains digestive enzymes. And 500 years ago, you couldn't go to the health food store and buy digestive enzymes. And the monks mostly ate raw food, steamed root vegetables, and mushrooms. That was their main diet. And so they needed to have the strength to chew and digest high fibrous foods. Now, the last part of this is to rotate the lower jaw so you're gonna go one way and then the other way with the lower jaw. And again, 16 times. My cousins used to make fun of me when I started teaching them this. They used to call me camel jaw. And I said, when you get to be 65, you're going to remember this. When you can't open your mouth and you can't chew and swallow your food. And so now that is the tongue. So I'm going to do a quick review. We started with the nose, then we went to the eyes, then we went to thought, then we went to hearing, then we went to taste, and now the last part is touch. And this, you should have bare arms for this, or you should be laying in bed. Okay, but I'm fully clothed, so you're just gonna have to imagine me bare-chested. Okay, so generate some heat, and then you're gonna put the hand on the back of the hand, and then very gently, you're gonna push that heat up your arm. Don't go too fast, because you wanna make sure you feel the heat. And then you keep going up the upper arm, and you're gonna go up the back of the neck, you're gonna go across the jaw, you're gonna go down the neck, and you're gonna go down the inside of the arm. So the acupuncture meridians are in two locations. One is on the surface of the skin, and the other is about an inch deep, okay? So think of it as two rails on a railroad track, okay? So you can touch your meridians with a very light touch, or you can use acupressure to go very deep. Now, for those of you who are wearing shirts and sweaters like I am, I want you to do this again when you're alone, and I want you to feel skin on skin. Across the jaw, down the front of the neck. My hands are on fire. I feel the heat coming from my hands into my arm. Okay, now I'm going to see if we can actually get the legs. Okay, yes, we can. Okay, so again, you're going to put your hand on the instep, and then you're going to come up the inside of the leg, all the way to the groin, and now you're going to go down the outside of the leg. Now again, you should be wearing shorts. Or you should be laying in bed actually while you're doing this, in your underwear or your nighty-night clothes. And then go up the back of the leg. This feels so good. This really feels good. And it's relaxing. And this is what we call self-care or self-love. So if you love yourself, you're going to do this every morning while you're laying in bed before you jump up. So you're going to actually do this before we do the meridian flow.
Dr. Love, I want you to talk to them about the certification that you do.
Okay.
Dr. Lett wanted to get certified.
Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Yes, we can. That's amazing. Okay, so there's 3 parts to level 1 certification, which we call Qigong instructor. So in order to become a Qigong instructor, the first thing you learn is the rotational joint exercises. The second thing you learn is Qi fitness. And then the third thing you learn is internal Qigong. So that takes about a year to get certified as a Qigong instructor. Then the next part of it is what we call vitality testing, vitality training, and vitality therapy. So vitality testing is measuring the blood pressure in your wrists and your ankles. Whoa. So when we test the blood pressure in your wrists and your ankles, it doesn't test the elbow. Now, if you read the textbook, it says, test the elbow laying prone 3 times in a 24-hour period and take the average. Have you ever had your blood pressure tested 3 times in 24 hours? And most people are sitting up when they get their blood pressure tested. And that one blood pressure test for your whole body tells the doctor what prescription to write for your high blood pressure. And 60% of the population has high blood pressure. Not a good look. But what we do is we identify where the most likely part for you to have a blood clot is going to be in your legs, not your arms. So that's why we test the blood pressure in the ankles and the wrists. Now, there should be a similar within 3-4 points of each blood pressure. If one is higher or lower than the other 3, that gives us a clue as to what's happening internally. And then we can do vitality training to increase the blood flow. Then we do a 60-second stress test. So we measure your heart rate, and then we measure your respiration rate. Now, the average American takes 18 breaths a minute. Healthy is 8 breaths per minute. So there's a big disparity between 8 breaths and 18. Now, your athletes and your singers probably have closer to 8, but the average is 18 breaths. So we measure your respiration rate. Then you run up and down the steps as many times as you can in 60 seconds. And then we determine how many minutes it takes to come back to your normal. And that becomes our baseline. We take the heart rate and we measure how many minutes it takes your heart to come back to normal. That becomes our baseline. Then we prescribe 3 or 4 Qigong exercises. And then at the end of 30 days, we do the stress test again, and we can see the improvement in just 30 days as to your heart and lungs, which is the biggest predictor of heart disease and lung cancer, which is the top 2 things that people die from in this country. Now, the last part of this is vitality therapy. Now, you may have heard of cupping. It has a companion called gua sha, or scraping. You may have heard of magnetic therapy. It has a companion, electro-stim. Then you may have heard of laser light, in which we use LEDs, but we also use sound therapy. And then we do something called moxibustion, which is heat, and then we put ice cubes in a plastic cup, and we can reduce inflammation by putting cold on certain places. So, light and sound, E-stim and magnetics, hot and cold, and cupping and gua sha. Those 8 things are vitality therapy. So in the second layer, so once you become a Qigong instructor, then you learn vitality testing, vitality training, and vitality therapy. Then the third part to certification is to become an energy medicine doctor, and we call that a Qi MD. Now we get to learn how to emit Qi from the palm of the hand. We learn Chinese medicine diagnosis, and you do not need a license to learn Chinese medicine diagnosis. And then the last part you learn is how to prescribe not only Qigong exercises, but also Qigong therapy. So you become a complete healer in Asian medicine, and we call that a QMD. And each training, so the instructor takes about a year, the vitality testing, training, and therapy, about a year. You could do it in less time if you're really focused and committed. And then QMD also takes about a year, 9 to 12 months. So 3 years training. How committed are you to learning how to heal yourself and heal others? Eddie?
Great job, man. That's beautiful. I'm telling you, what he just said. Um, I don't think you're gonna get that certification from anywhere. So, anybody have any question about this? I've made sure. Look, I'm able to give to you because he gave something to me. So I said, yo, why don't I go to the guy who gave us a lot of this wisdom and knowledge, right? So he's gonna be able to certify you. If anybody have any questions, this is your time. Or so go ahead, unmute. Ask how many questions you have about certification. If this is something you would like to do.
Is the certification, do you have to come to Florida?
That's a good question. For level 1, you have to come twice during that year. For level 2, for the vitality testing, you're going to have to come to Florida for a 1-week intensive. And for, so you're going to have to do 2 intensives each year. So for the Qigong, once you complete Qi Fit, you're going to have to come for a 1-week intensive. And once you complete internal Qigong, you come for a 1-week intensive. So everything can be done online, but you're going to have to come for 2 1-week intensives. And that's for all three years.
And Colette, I want to say this: if coming to Florida 3 times out the year, that's gonna be transformative, okay? Because that was transformative for me, showing up to the retreats and just being around all the healers transformed a whole lot for me. So it's not really a sacrifice; it's more of an investment that's just worth it. Plus, you're gonna get all this beach and ocean. You know what I'm saying?
I know. It's a shame that you have all that knowledge. I mean, I sure can do 2 times a year to get some of that knowledge.
Why is it a shame that I have all this knowledge?
Because it's not a shame. It's just amazing to me that you have all this knowledge, and nowhere have I ever heard any of this before in my life.
And you won't, because the ancients did not write books. It was always mouth to ear. That was always the teaching method, mouth to ear. So if I write something down 100 years from now, are people going to really understand what I was saying? Because language changes, right? Language changes. We have different words. Today we say, that's bad. That's not bad, that's good. We say, that's dope. Dope is not good. So words change. That's why it's got to be mouth to ear. And again, how many people are dedicated and committed to the learning process? This many. And that's why you won't hear it.
Thank you.
Let's open it up for Q&A.
Michelle Kaplan. Michelle took, you took the vitality testing training and therapy, right?
Yeah,
She did.
I did.
So Michelle's one of my graduates. So I'm so happy to see you here.
You too, honey. The Blue Dragon. Yep. So how many days do we have to train? Or is it all like videos?
Well, you just need a refresher course on the Qigong instructor, because you came 6 months and you learned all the exercises. You didn't master them all, but you learned them all. And then you took the vitality testing and training. but you didn't do the, oh, you did do the vitality therapy, right?
I think so. I did quite a bit of, I have all the books and all the stuff.
Right, so you did the vitality therapy, you learned the cupping and the gua sha. But again, you need a refresher course because it's been 3 years since you took it. But you didn't do the CMD, so that's what's next for you.
GMD.
So if you do the CMD program, I'll give you the refresher for the instructor and the vitality testing. I'll just throw that in.
Okay, let's talk later.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's open it up for a little bit Q&A. Listen, Dr. Love is not gonna show up to Rise and Prime every day. In fact, Dr. Love have a Qigong class every single day that he does. So he's gonna be showing up for that every day at 8. However, listen, if you have any question pertaining to health, wellness, go ahead. Let's open it up. Go ahead and ask. Just shoot out your question. Anything that
You can ask me about your periods.
Yep. I'm telling you.
You could ask
ain't
me
gonna get
about
this
your
opportunity.
digestion. You can ask me about meditation.
Yep.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hello, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate participating. I have a question about bloating and how to work with that part of what's going on inside of the body.
Okay, you said bloating.
Bloating, yes.
Okay, so that's because you don't do digestive enzymes.
Oh,
And you're eating at the wrong time of day, and it is possible that you have bacterial overgrowth of the small intestines. So I would have to do a complete evaluation to identify what is the cause of bloating. But you can start with just taking digestive enzymes.
okay.
Okay?
All
Now,
right.
you should eat your biggest meal in the middle of the day between 1 and 3. You should not eat between 11 and 1. So your breakfast should be between 9 and 11. Your lunch should be between 1 and 3. And your dinner should be between 5 and 7. Now, if you want to do intermittent fasting, which means there's 16 hours from dinner to breakfast, which is a good amount of time. So, so what's your work schedule? What time do you go to work?
Oh, nothing right now. I'm stay at home working.
Okay, so what time do you start doing whatever it is that you do?
Normally, roughly around 9:30 a.m.
Okay, so let's say you work 9:30 to 5:30.
Okay.
Which means you should sleep 9:30 to 5:30.
Oh,
Which means that dinner should be at 6, and then breakfast should be 16 hours later.
okay.
Okay, so count the number of hours between dinner. 16 hours later, that's when you eat breakfast.
Okay, I'm good with the breakfast part. It's the late eating part.
Okay. So if you get off work at 5:30, then you have to complete your dinner by 6:30.
Okay.
All right. So you cannot eat after 6:30.
All right.
All right.
Super. Is there any tummy exercise that I could do?
Oh yes, we didn't do the anal rectal breathing.
Okay.
That's another one. Okay. So the anal rectal breathing is not only for your digestive system, it's also for your uterus and your prostate. Okay? So the anal sphincter is a ring muscle. Then you have the ileocecal valve, which is the opening from the small to the large intestine. Then you have the pyloric valve, which is the bottom of the stomach, which opens into the small intestines. Then you have the top of the stomach, and then you have the throat. So you have 6 ring muscles that process food through your digestive system. So what we do is we practice first the anal sphincter and the ileocecal valve, then we do the abdominal muscles, and then we do the esophageal muscles. So we practice them separately, and then we practice them together. And it takes a while. It takes a couple of weeks to master the internal muscles, okay? So once we get that down, then that's going to change our digestion. It's going to change the quality of the small intestines and the frequency of the large intestines. So that's pretty important. So right now, we're going to practice just anal sphincter. So you could be seated in a chair, you could be standing with your hands bent on your knees. So I want you to take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, hold the breath out, and now don't breathe. Push the anal sphincter out, pull it in, push it 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 out, push it out, pull it in, push it out, pull it in, push it out, pull it in, push it out, pull it in. Now breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Hold the breath, push it out, pull it in, push it out, pull it in, push it out, pull it in, push it out. Breathe. Again, deep breath in, deep breath out. Push it out, pull it in. Breathe. Now we just did it 3 times. We're going to do it 2 more times. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Breathe. Breathe out. Hold the breath. Okay, we just did that 5 times. I want you to do that 8 times. 3 times a day. 8
Okay.
times, 3 times a day. And after a couple of weeks, we're going to add in the abdominal and the anal sphincter, and then we'll add in the esophageal and the abdominal and the anal rectal. And that is going to make your periods better. It's going to make your uterus better. It's going to make your defecation better and your digestion better.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Love.
Hello.
Was that exercise similar to performing Kegels?
It is very similar to Kegels, only it's more intense. And
Okay.
it's also similar to doing the bandhas in yoga, the Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, but it's way more intense than doing those, okay? So for everyone else, Kegel exercises are pubococcygeal muscles, or what we call pelvic floor muscles.
Okay.
But I'm specifically isolating the ring muscles that go around the uterus. So everything that pushes in on the uterus, whereas the pelvic floor is below the uterus.
Oh.
So that's why I
Okay.
say it's another layer of intensity that's not included in Kegels.
Gotcha. And I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Fibroids. How to rid of fibroids
Okay.
naturally?
So the first question we have to ask is, how did you get a fibroid.
Right.
So I'm going to paint a picture and you're going to tell me yes or no. So when you were between 18 and 24, did you have a lover?
Yes.
And things were going great and there was a lot of blood flow to this area. And then he did something really stupid and you cut him off. Is that true?
More than likely.
More than likely. And
Yes.
then for the next 6 months or so, you said, I'm not having sex anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet a new lover and then a lot of blood flow. And then he does something stupid and then you cut him off.
Right.
So every time you cut him off, you create the seed for the fibroid. Because when you're not having sex, you're compensating with food.
Okay.
Chocolate,
Correct.
pretzels,
Yes.
candy, gum, whatever it is, French fries, potato chips. So food, sex, food, sex, food, sex. And
Mm-hmm.
every time we cut somebody off, we are cutting off blood flow to that part of the body, and that's what makes the fibroid grow. Now, when you add an emotional trigger, because we feel betrayed or rejected when he did his stupid whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
that makes it grow faster because there's an emotional trigger. Now, how do we get rid of the fibroid? Now,
Yeah.
I can teach you how to shrink it, but if we don't access the emotional content that created it,
It'll
it's
come
only
back.
going to get, we're only going to shrink it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay? Now, the surgical way is to desiccate the tumor. In other words, we go on a special diet, we take herbs to shrink it, and that creates a little space around the fibroid so the surgeon can just go in and pop it out. But that's what I call the last resort. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the first resort is dealing with the emotional stress. Why did I feel betrayed? Why do I feel rejected? Why do I feel abandoned?
Mm-hmm.
And then increase blood flow to this area with Qigong exercises, specifically the exercises I just told you about. And then
Okay.
we can do electroacupuncture that can literally make it go away.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for that. Yes. It sound, I have been doing, reading and researching and getting understanding and it lines up. It lines up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Dr. Love. I have a
Hi.
question. My name is Edith.
Hi, Edith.
So I've done some testing and it seems like I have adrenal fatigue and a lot of cortisol issues, and that affects a lot my sleep. And so I wake up a few times at night. It's kind of hard to go back to sleep. So I don't know if there's any kind of a exercise that I can kind of do to help me with my cortisol, my adrenals, and getting a sense of calm and, natural ability to sleep again.
Okay, so the issue for you is to learn how to meditate, because your adrenal fatigue is what we call a generalized anxiety disorder. And I call it waiting for the other shoe to drop syndrome. So this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. What else is going to happen? And that's what causes adrenal fatigue. So the adrenal glands secrete adrenaline and noradrenaline, which is what we call the fight or flight syndrome. And then there's the freeze, like deer in the headlights. What do I do? What do I do? So when the nervous system is contracted, then the neurotransmitters that live in the cerebrospinal fluid, they get confused. The water turns murky instead of being clear. And the neurotransmitters like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And that's why you can't sleep at night. So first step is hot bath, followed by cold shower. Hot bath, cold shower, hot bath, cold shower. That's step number one. Step number two is aromatherapy. So we lead with lavender, but lavender may not be the only one. So we'd have to do muscle testing to figure out which other essences that you need. Then, number three is the self-massage. Now, it's always better if someone else does it for you. So if you have a sleeping companion, they could massage you for 15, 20 minutes every night. That would also go a long way. Number five is to turn out the lights and use candles. Number six, check the mattress, check the sheets. And number seven, to do exercise before you go to bed. So your exercise should be between 7 and 9, and I have a whole set of exercises to do between 7 and 9. So it's a whole process. It's not, you know, try this, try that. Now I'm sure you've already tried melatonin. Yes? Have you tried melatonin? Okay, so we lost her. So at any rate, we've got 8 different ways to treat the poor sleep, the insomnia, whatever's going on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. 50% of Americans do not sleep well. So that becomes another issue. I created something called Sleepitation. And Sleepitation is what I've already described, plus 2 more things. So the thing I left out is a dream journal, because I want you to dream and remember your dreams and write them down. And then part 2 is affirmations. I've written 12 affirmations, and we put the affirmation in a circle underneath a magnet, and we put a glass of water on it, and then we drink the water because the magnet magnetizes the affirmation into the water. And there's a book by Dr. Masaru Emoto called The Many Messages in Water. So he's done years of research to verify this. And then the last part is connecting sleep to sex. Now, if you know someone who is married, or if you were married, females prefer to have sex at night. Men prefer to have sex in the morning. So if women have this energy at night that would appreciate cuddling, non-sexual touch, kissing and hugging, and maybe lead to sex, that will also help you sleep better. And if you've ever had regular sex, you know you always sleep better after you have sex. So anxiety can be relieved by having a sleeping companion. Sometimes that doesn't work because the companion wants to stay up all night and play on the computer, or there's other issues, other emotional issues that could be resolved first and then take part in the process. So before you have sex, your energy level has to come down. You can't have sex when you're all excited. So you have to slow your energy down, slow your breathing down, relax your muscles before you enter into a union with another person. So just like your body prepares for sleep by slowing the heart, slowing the respiration, relaxing the muscles, the same thing goes on when you have sex. So since it's the same process, if we can connect them, then you're going to sleep a whole lot better. So that's a whole course that I teach called Sleepitation. It's 2 weeks. It's 1 hour every night for 2 weeks, whether you have a partner or you don't have a sleeping companion.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
I have the opposite problem. I fall asleep at a drop of a dime. Any advice for that?
Yes, you have narcolepsy.
But like not to a point where it affects my daily routine. But if I come home and I sit down, I could feel like I'm gonna nod out. I'm very active too, so I don't understand how I could control that.
Okay, so what you have to do is track your energy level over a 24-hour period. So the sages would wake up at 3 a.m. So the lung energy is highest between 3 and 5. The large intestine is highest between 5 and 7 a.m. The stomach is highest between 7 and 9. The spleen, which controls digestion, between 9 and 11. The heart between 11 and 1. The small intestine between 1 and 3. The bladder between 3 and 5. The kidney between 5 and 7. The pericardium, which is the envelope around the heart, between 7 and 9. The triple heater, which is the circulatory, digestive, reproductive system, between 9 and 11 at night. The gallbladder, which is your decision-making process, between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., which is when you're reviewing the events of the day. And the liver energy is highest between 1 and 3. So that's what we call a 24-hour cycle. So what I want you to do is to track your energy level. When is it highest? When is it lowest? You know, when do you fall asleep? What time do you go to bed? What time do you get up? What time do you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So if we can track your energy level, your energy highs and lows through a 24-hour cycle, we can figure out where the glitch in the system is and then fix it. Does that answer your question?
No, that answers it. I'm very, very active in the morning. So I don't know if I have to slow down in the morning and just try to balance my day.
Well, like I said, track it over 24 hours. And then call me back, set up a telemedicine call, and we'll figure out how to adjust it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Love, is Colette again. Is there a spiritual component to any of these routines?
Okay, what do you mean by spiritual?
Connecting with the higher power, with God in my case.
Okay.
Is there any spiritual component, or is it just exercises?
Okay, so silly question. Are you a body or are you a spirit?
A spirit.
Okay, so if you're a spirit, then everything you do is spiritually connected.
Being here right now.
Right? So if you are a spirit, everything you do has the spiritual connection. Yes?
That makes sense. Yes.
Okay. So we have a spiritual body, we have an emotional body, we have an energy body, and then we have a physical body. So we actually have 4 bodies. Now, the physical body is what I call the pain body. The energy body is the energy that we carry. But the emotional body, that's what really drives our choices. And then the spiritual body is the one that says we're all connected to the rats, the roaches, the mosquitoes, people who revile us, curse us, blame us. We're all connected. So when you do not see the connection between all life, then you're not being in your spiritual body, you're being in your emotional body. Now, the purpose of Qigong is to get you out of your emotional body into your spiritual body. The stronger the physical body, the stronger the spirit. The weaker the physical body, the weaker the spirit. Because the physical carries the spiritual.
Very interesting.
When the body dies, the spirit goes to another body. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but only changed in form.
Thank you, Dr. Love.
I'd just like to share. It's very interesting that you say that. Since I've been learning with Ed and doing Qigong, I've been more religious. So it's brought me to a higher level. So I'm thankful for that.
Qigong makes you do everything better. Whatever you choose to do, whether it's religion or sports or householder or teacher, it just makes you better at it. Brings you more vitality. So I have a question for you. How many people have been following Ed for more than 3 months?
I have.
Okay, for some reason the sun is coming up and I can't see.
I have to.
You have to?
I have.
All right, that's great.
I have a question.
Okay.
I've set 5 meetings with Ed and he missed them. At what point do I stop setting meetings with him? Because it's really hard for me to come to Rise and Prime, but I need some support. I love the tribe and I need the support of the tribe, but the Rise and Prime is like, I get my daughter up at 6:15 Central Time. The meeting started at 6. She told me she needed some attention this morning. I'd really like to be here and be part of this conversation, but it's not possible for me to be in 2 places at once. And like, I've expressed this to Ed more than 3 times and asked for meetings at a different time. And it's like, at this point, I can't not say anything because I'm tired of not being seen and not being heard.
I cannot speak for Ed, but you said you're Central Time, which is what, an hour difference?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can only offer some suggestions. Sometimes Ed does lives and sometimes he does Zooms. So perhaps he could record something specific for you because his time in the mornings, I'm assuming, is limited because he has other responsibilities and obligations. So I suggest you call him again and maybe
we all have responsibilities. Like, I have the responsibility of taking care of my daughter in the morning. And like, I was Ed's first supporter, and to be treated like this.
So I want to. So Aisha, we were just having this conversation. Actually, was like, I'm actually here with Dr. Love, and like, this is a special occasion that he's showing up to Rise and Prime. And I'm actually doing 1,000 things right now. I actually took some time out just to text you back.
It's always about everyone else, bro.
But look,
always. I'm doing 1,000 things too, Ed.
Also, Aisha, I want you to understand this. Like, y'all are very close, like family, but I also run a company, a business, and I have a personal life. Like,
and who was your first supporter of that company, Ed?
Listen,
I saw your vision before anybody else.
Right, but listen.
I financially supported you before anybody else, bro. Your tech company, I speak on that so much. I say, Ed is this great guy that knows Qigong and he wants to run a tech company. Bro, I know.
So I want you to listen. I'm not gonna say anything pertaining to like. I'm taking responsibility for what I do as a coach. But at the same time, like, you gotta give me grace and space to understand. Like, it's another thing. Sometimes y'all might even text me on my 561-510 number, and I don't really see the text. Like, people, like, you have to understand. And I also don't just get one text message. Like, I get a bunch of text messages. I have many people. I help people heal, but at the same time, y'all, I also have shit in my own life. You know, sometimes shit get drowned out in all the noise. Now, all I can do is say, hey, let's make it up. I mean, that I've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, Aisha, I sent you a link. I said, come on, book a time for us to talk. The other day, I said, listen, all right, we don't have time to talk right now, because I was doing 1,000 things. I'm literally coming from this, doing it. And I was like, okay, we're supposed to talk at 11. By the time I saw that, it's not available. That's why I need things booked. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, you got to book it. So these things are not always all personal things against you, yo, or anybody here. I just want to make that clear. It's just that I got other stuff going on too. So this is something we should handle personally. But guess what? I tell y'all, we don't run away from conflict. We deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We just get on the same page. We have a conversation, communication. But part of that is giving somebody grace and space. And, you know, Dr. Love was having a great session here. And I just feel like I was talking to you about this via text. Shit, we could have literally had this conversation. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, like Aisha, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. And you got to understand, man, like, you're like, yo, you're my first supporter. Yes, you are. Like, I really appreciate you. But at the same time, like, there's a distance where you just cut me off, yo. So you got to also understand these things when you're coming back. And it's like, it's not a projection of, yo, you fucking up. Like, bro, I'm here for you guys every day, all the time. So I'm not trying to, like, and ain't by any means not see you or hear you. It's just that, man, I got shit in I got my own life going on. And I've been working much more at being more responsive to everybody, right? So all I can say is I'm doing my best, and I'm gonna keep doing that. And it is, if I hurted you, I'm sorry, all right? But yeah, so she's gone. Okay, all right. So I just had to, what was that?
No, I just wanted to know, I think that topic we need to get back to, but for today, is Dr. Love going to tell us how to be involved in the training?
Oh, yeah, he can, actually, I just told you, just text me.
Okay.
Just text me that, whatever I put there, and anybody else, all y'all part of the tribe, the fam. Just text certified to my number, and I'm gonna send you the link and access to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it just, I always tell everybody here, like, if I do something, just communicate with me. We're gonna get it right. We're gonna fix it. And that's what happens, and it happened. So be it. I appreciate y'all for still sticking through, being here with us. Yeah, and all I can exude is love and compassion. All right. So